Karam comes up with a female alter ego, Pooja, to earn money. His girlfriend, Pari, supports him as he tries to impress her dad. But things get out of hand with the frequent gender role reversals. At a religious event to celebrate goddess Durga, Karam makes a grand entrance for his solo performance. He's soon joined by his girlfriend, Pari, on the floor. Towards the end of the performance, he gestures to Pari to meet him in his van. A woman thinks he's calling out to her and hugs him from behind. He realizes it's the wrong woman when he hears her voice and politely clarifies the confusion. She leaves in anger, but Pari is more interested to know when he'll talk to her father about their marriage. The camera is on, so everyone outside notices them flirting and hugging. The next morning, Pari has told her father, Jaipal, everything about their relationship. He's coming over to Karam's place to discuss their marriage. Jaipal thinks their house looks very old and needs some repairs. Karam's dad, Jagjit, doesn't want to move out of this ancestral property because they don't have anywhere else to live. Jagjit is in a lot of debt, and some men come over to ask for money, but he tries to act like nothing is wrong. Jaipal loves his daughter, so he wants to compromise. But Karam doesn't have any property, money or a job, and Jaipal doesn't think he can handle a marriage like this. Their house also gets seized because they have taken a hefty loan from the bank, which they are unable to pay. Jagjit claims he lost all the money because of the pandemic, and since he needed to help people. But all the neighbors want Jaipal to know they have borrowed a lot more money from everyone. They even made claims about returning these loans after they get dowry money from Jaipal. He refuses to let his daughter marry a man like him. Karam tries to explain their struggles only started after the pandemic. But Jaipal doesn't think organizing functions is a proper job, even if it's for religious purposes. Karam begs him to consider his true love for Pari. Jaipal thinks if he can manage to get a decent job, a house of his own, and at least 30 lakh rupees, he can consider letting his daughter marry him. Karam's best friend, Smiley, lets them stay in his house despite his dad's protest. Karam is worried about earning so much money so soon, but Pari comes to them in a great mood. She has made some paintings she thinks they can sell for a lot of money. She knows famous painters earn a lot, and hopes her 4 horses should be enough for them. Smiley makes fun of her, but Kara assures her he respects her talent. Even then, he asks her to not sell anything because he plans to get a job. Smiley works in a bar where men keep throwing cash at bar dancers. Smiley knows these rich men just need someone to throw their money at so they don't feel lonely. They know becoming a bar dancer is a way to get quick money, but Karam refuses to do it. He has talent and has performed as a woman many times for plays when he was young. It was his hobby then, but Jagjit thinks it'll help them earn a lot of money now too. Jagjit gets a call from Tiger Pandy on behalf of his credit card company. He hasn't paid the bill in months and asks Karam to handle it. When Tiger asks why he hasn't paid the bill, Karam takes out a woman's voice and pretends to be a woman called Pooja. Tiger gets seduced by the voice, and Pooja claims her husband left her without paying the bill. She's now worried about her reputation in the society, but Tiger assures her he will take care of the bill. Jagjit thinks Karam can make anything happen if he keeps pretending to be Pooja. Karam hasn't found a job yet, so he decides to elope with Pari. He wants her to sneak out, but Pari offers her mother's jewelry so he can sell it. She knows if her mother was alive, she would want Pari to be with a nice guy like him. But Karam has pride and doesn't want Pari to make this kind of sacrifice. They decide they won't elope, and Karam will now seriously work to fulfill her father's conditions. Karam dresses up as Pooja. When he walks down the street, every guy checks him out. He even enters the bar and flirts with Smiley, who doesn't recognize him. In his normal voice, he asks Smiley to introduce him to his boss. He's desperate to get the money now and thinks this can work. Smiley's boss is Sonabai, who owns 4 bars. Smiley claims Pooja suffered a lot because of the lockdown. She now wants a job as a dancer with him. Jagjit also insists that his daughter is the best singer and dancer. Pooja also assures him that she can make customers spend more money than he can imagine, and asks for one chance to prove herself. Sona asks Pooja to perform, and she turns out to be the best thing that has happened to the bar, along with Sona. Abu Salim scolds his nephews, Ali and Kuli, for dyeing their hair in weird colors. He thinks they need to do something to respect the family and its traditions. Even Abu's daughter, Sakina, has her hair dyed, but Abu is sure she will get married and make him proud one day. Abu's adopted son, Shakia, disagrees and brings Smiley to them. Smiley and Sakina are in love, but they're from different religions. Abu's family is very reputed in Agra, and he can't let Sakina marry any random guy. But Smiley claims he's good for her, because he can keep her happy. Abu claims he's not one of those people who will stop 2 lovers just because of their different religions. He asks his men to free Smiley and offers him refreshments. He approves of their match, but he can't let them marry yet. Sakina's elder brother, Sharak, is still not married, and he doesn't want Sakina to marry before him. Sharak is still in depression months after his breakup, and no kind of treatment seems to be working on him. Abu is willing to give 10 lakh rupees to anyone who can cure Sharak's depression. After hearing this, Smiley comes up with a plan of introducing Pooja as a psychiatrist for him. Karam isn't educated enough to be one, but Smiley claims it's a lot of money in one go. It also seems more respectable than being a bar dancer. Pooja agrees to be Shahruk's psychiatrist and asks to meet him outdoors. Her charm and sweet talks don't work on him because Shahrukh doesn't want to get better. Smiley asks Karam to give up because this might not work. But Karam wants to marry Perry at any cost and thinks Smiley is underestimating Pooja's charms. He starts doing everything as Pooja to make Shahrukh laugh. It gets tricky to hide Pooja from Perry when she notices his lipsticks and other signs. He even keeps working at Sona's bar as a dancer to earn more. One day, Pooja pretends to trip and fall on Shahrukh, who finally smiles at her. Abu has decided that he wants Pooja to marry Shahrukh. He can tell Shahrukh and everyone in the house likes her. Smiley tries to suggest some other girls for him, but Abu doesn't want anyone apart from Pooja. Smiley claims she is characterless and flirts around with every guy. Abu doesn't mind this because he thinks Shahrukh is like that too. No one wants to marry him because he's apparently a womanizer. Because of that, Abu thinks Pooja is ideal for him. He thinks if Smiley can convince Pooja to marry Shahrukh, he will allow Smiley to marry Sakina the next day itself. Sakina's grandfather, Yusuf, also offers 50 lakh rupees to Pooja if she agrees to marry Shahrukh. Karam thinks Smiley is selling him off and is scared to marry another man. But they're dealing with more money now, and Abu is the kind of millionaire they needed. Smiley asks for Karam's help as a friend, because he can't marry Sakina without Pooja. He thinks if Pooja can stay married to Shahrukh for even a day, it will give him enough time to marry Sakina. Pooja can then disappear with the money, and they will make up a story about her being a fraud. Karam is worried about Perry finding out, but Smiley assures him that no one will tell her. Perry overhears them discussing that Karam is getting a lot of money for one night. She wants to know about the progress on his job. Jagjit claims Karam needs to sing for a night, but he's refusing. Karam claims it's about the other things he has to do for the performance, but Perry suggests he can just charge extra. She reminds him that they don't have much time, and he should do whatever it takes to get the money. Karam doesn't feel comfortable with such a huge wedding, but Smiley assures him that's how rich people behave, and thanks him for this huge favor. They hear someone approaching, and Karam hides behind a door. Jagjit instantly falls for Sakina's aunt, Jamani, and starts flirting with her. They have come to check on Pooja and wonder when she'll be ready. Smiley makes a comment about the oranges Karam is using on his chest to become Pooja, but he covers up for it by claiming Pooja is excited about singing for Shahrukh. Shakya is drunk in Pooja's love and tries to create a scene, but Abu asks him to forget her. Ali and Kuli notice Smiley scratching Pooja's back and informs Sakina about it. She thinks they're just jealous because Abu is letting her get married to the man she loves. Sona arrives at the wedding too, so Pooja tries to hide her face. Sona is still married to Jamani and wants a quick divorce. He also wonders which woman agreed to marry Shahrukh, but Abu doesn't want him there and asks him to leave. Pooja hugs Jagjit tightly when she's about to leave and starts crying. Jagjit asks if he can spend one night at their place because Pooja has never lived without him. Abu agrees to let him come, and they plan to escape early morning after taking cash from Abu. Perry calls Karam, so Jagjit takes over the phone and claims Karam is busy with the most important performance of his life. Pooja finds posters of men in Shahrukh's room when she enters. She asks if Shahrukh plans to seduce her that night, but Shahrukh is not interested and has taken a sleeping pill. Karam is relieved and comes out of the room as Pooja because there's a lizard in their bathroom. He starts peeing, and Yusuf thinks someone is watering the plants at night. When he tries to find out who it is, he gets shocked to learn that Pooja is a man. He passes away the next day, but Jagjit is angry because they have given only 25 lakh rupees in cash instead. Shahrukh thinks he's being insensitive and takes him away. When Pooja notices Yusuf's passing, Abu and Shakya explain that he perished on his way to the bathroom. Smiley comes to celebrate Abu's promise of him marrying Sakina and invites them to the wedding that night. But Abu points out that Yusuf has kicked the bucket, and no one in their family can get married for at least 6 months. Pooja starts crying and claims she's unlucky for them. She tries to leave, but Abu doesn't think it's her fault. He shows her what Yusuf inscribed on the wall before his passing. It suggests that Pooja is a boy, but Abu thinks Yusuf wanted Pooja to have a baby boy. Pooja thinks she can't live in a house that puts pressure on women to have kids. She tries to leave again, but turns back when she notices Perry coming to the house. Perry is Sona's divorce lawyer and wants to hand in the papers to Jamani. Karam doesn't want to keep Perry in the dark anymore and decides to tell her everything. He informs her he has a job and that they can get the house back too. She wonders how he managed to get so much money so soon. When he takes out his scarf, she also notices lipstick. She thinks he must have kissed one of his clients and gets angry. Karam doesn't want to be Pooja anymore because Perry is doubting him. Smiley and Japal ask him to think about the pending 25 lakh they owe him. They can also put a case of fraud on Pooja, so they need to play this out well. Tiger calls to let Pooja know he has paid her credit card bill. He took out the money he saved for his mother's eye operation to pay it. He is desperate to meet her, but Pooja claims her husband is back and she can't talk to him again. Abu is surprised Jagjit never mentioned that Pooja has a brother too. Jagjit claims Karim is a rebel who just wants money for them. He claims Pooja left the house because she fought with Karim. Abu decides to call her, but Karim's phone rings. Smiley claims their phones are also identical. Jumani flirts with Karim and thinks he's her responsibility now. She wants to keep him with her till Pooja comes back and promises to sort out their fight. Jumani tries to seduce Karim at home, but he's not interested and keeps insulting her. Shahrukh is shocked to see him, so Jumani explains he's Pooja's twin brother. Sona is worried because Pooja is missing and asks Smiley to call her. Karim starts abusing Sona when he picks up, and Smiley informs him that Sona is on speaker. Pooja apologizes for her brother, Karim, abusing Sona. She claims she can't come to for work a few more days because she's menstruating. That night, Pooja puts her hand on Shahrukh's chest by mistake. He tries to touch her too, so she starts screaming about being uncomfortable that she's menstruating. Karim is worried because Shahrukh is getting touchy with him. He wants to meet Perry, but Smiley has already invited her home. He thinks when Perry notices Karim dressed as Pooja, all her doubts about him cheating will be gone. Karim likes that idea and hugs Smiley, but Sakina watches them and thinks they're having an affair. Smiley runs after her, and Perry notices Sakina being angry at some guy. She finds Karim shirtless and playing with a bra. He feels proud about how he unhooked it himself. She thinks he should be ashamed of boasting about sleeping with other women, and walks off. He tries to explain that it's his bra. He still has to dress up as a girl for work like he did in the plays when he was young. He even calls someone who confirms that he bought the bra for himself. She feels bad for doubting him, and he assures her he is faithful to her. Karim wants to come clean to Abu, but Smiley tries to stop him. They notice Abu punishing Ali and Kuli because they lied about the movie they were going to watch. Abu claims he doesn't have issues with the film, but he can't stand lies. Karim drinks with Smiley and his dad, and rants about how hard it is to be a woman. Smiley has also somehow managed to convince Sakina that he's not having an affair. He offers to drop Karim to his in-laws, but Karim wants to go himself. Pooja wakes up to two kids addressing her as their mother. She's in Sona's house, who picked her up when he saw her passed out on the streets. She admits she drank a little and pretends to be shy. He wants to marry her and make her the mother of his kids. She claims her marriage is fixed with someone else, but he wants to fight the other guy for her. It's getting late, so she insists she needs to go home. Sona insists on dropping her, and she makes him stop near Abu's house. He knows Jumani lives nearby, but he tries his best to flirt with Pooja. Shakya, Ali and Kuli spot them together, and think Pooja is having an affair with Sona. Jaipal and Perry notice the repair work happening in Karim's house, and feel reassured. Jagjit claims they have enough money to give them a loan now. He prepares tea for them when Tiger comes over and assumes Perry is Pooja. He reminds her of their conversations, but she thinks he's being creepy with her. Even Jaipal asks him to stay away from his daughter. He's looking for Jagjit, who comes out to ask who he is. He still thinks Perry is Pooja, and wonders how someone like Jagjit got married to her. Jagjit claims he has the wrong house, and asks him to get out. Jaipal still makes it clear that he can't allow Karim and Perry to marry till all his requirements are met. Sona meets the principal of his children's school, who thinks the kids are terrible in dance and English. Pooja calls him to let him know Tiger from Lena Dina Bank is teasing her and sending dirty messages. Shakya informs Abu about an affair between Sona and Pooja. Abu thinks Pooja is a nice girl, but he doesn't trust Sona to not flirt with her. He feels like Jumani keeps marrying weird men. Jumani wants to marry Karim, and brings her kids to his house. Jagjit gets excited when she claims she wants to discuss something. She admits she has been married thrice, but never found true love. She now wants to discuss marriage with him, so Jagjit assumes she wants to marry him. He makes it clear he has no issues with the age gap, and wants them to surprise Karim. Sona tracks down Tiger and beats him up. Abu doesn't approve of Jumani's fourth marriage. He is worried Sona will come after Pooja if she leaves him. He asks Jumani to somehow try and fix her broken marriage with Sona. Jagjit comes to their house to fix his own marriage. He seems familiar to Sona, but he doesn't make the connection. Pooja is shocked to see Jagjit dressed so differently. He claims Jumani is desperate to marry him, and he wants this match for himself. Sona regrets marrying Jumani, and they both want a quick divorce. Abu doesn't think Jumani can get married till her divorce is final. Jagjit still feels like they can get engaged, and shows her a ring. When she claims the ring exchange can't happen without Karim, Jagjit realizes Jumani wants to marry Karim. He feels hurt that she led him on, but she makes it clear she was talking to him as the father of the groom. Shahrukh picks up a call from Tiger on Pooja's phone, who claims he loves her. He asks Pooja about it, but she doesn't think he can question her if they haven't even had sex yet. She tries to seduce him, but he wants to get away. But when she touches him, something seems familiar and he's in the mood now. Pooja claims she was joking, but Shahrukh tries to kiss her. Her wig comes in his hand, and Karam escapes. Karam admits that he is a man, and there is no Pooja. Shahrukh realizes why his touch felt so familiar, and admits that he's gay. He shows Karam a photo of his ex, and they bond over how good his choice is. But they're now married because of familial pressure, and don't know how they can get out of it. Karam feels sick after drinking too much. Sakina tries to call Smiley when she finds out she is pregnant, but she throws her test from the balcony when Jumani approaches. The test falls on Shakia, who notices Pooja puking and thinks she must be pregnant. Abu calls Jagjit to celebrate the fact that Pooja is pregnant. He holds a feast in their honor, but Pooja urges Shahrukh to speak to him. Shahrukh makes it clear that Pooja can't get pregnant. He claims it's a medical issue, and the doctor has told them about it. Abu faints while they're trying to talk to him. After some chest pain, Abu almost had a heart attack after hearing this news. Jumani suggests a yogi who can help anyone who doesn't have kids. The yogi listens to Pooja's stomach and claims she can have twins. Pooja and Jagjit think he's a fraud, but he shows examples of all the kids there. He claims he made the impossible happen with the birth of all those kids. Pooja is irritated about Shahrukh's family being after her life. Jumani is upset Karam is ignoring her because she's in love. Pooja suggests he's a womanizer, she's better off without him. But Jumani has decided to marry him, threatens to have poison if he doesn't agree to meet her. Smiley calls Pooja when Sona is holding a gun to his face. Pooja asks him to hold, because Jumani is on the other line. Karam asks Jumni to wait for him at a diner. Sona wants to meet Pooja, but she claims she's busy, so he threatens to kill Smiley if she doesn't meet him that day. Pooja pretends she's angry at Sona for threatening Smiley with his life. Sona wants her to know he's madly in love with her, and can't imagine a life without her. She reminds him that her marriage is fixed with a man who works in a bank. Jumani has arrived at the same cafe, even if Karam asked her to meet at a nearby diner. Pooja makes an excuse about feeling hot, and needs to use the bathroom. Karam and Jumani why she's so desperate to meet him. He clarifies that he's in love with Perry, and has no interest in her. But it's time for him to go to the bathroom, and he comes back as Pooja. Karam is in the washroom trying to adjust his oranges. One orange falls in another cubicle, and a girl crushes it. Pooja comes back to the table hiding one side of her chest. She claims she has some pain and asks the waiter for an orange. He brings orange juice instead, and Pooja gets irritated. Sona wants her to think about how his kids will grow up without a mother. She claims she can't leave the man who is her childhood love. The cafe is all out of grapes, and the waiter suggests getting a watermelon. She gets a call from Jumani and makes an excuse about the bathroom again. When Karam comes out to meet Jumani, Perry enters the cafe too. Sona has invited her so she can convince Pooja as a woman to marry him. She agrees to help, but she notices someone bringing a heart-shaped cake with Karam's photo on it. She watches Jumani giving him a rose and hugging him. When she calls, he claims he's with a client. He angrily asks him to make sure he pleases client so he doesn't get fired. The yogi asks Shahrukh and Pooja to take 3 dips in the Yamuna River so they can get a child. They share a look and head towards the river. They're supposed to dip thrice, but Pooja doesn't come out the 3rd time. They're afraid she has drowned and keep looking for her. Jagjit cries about how Abai's family ended his daughter. Abu claims he's equally upset about Pooja's passing. Karam enters with a belt and wants revenge on the person who murdered his sister. He thinks she perished because Abu forced her to have a kid. He asks for Jumani because it was her idea to take Pooja to the yogi. He claims he will make sure he gets revenge. Tiger shows up there and isn't ready to believe Pooja D before meeting him. Sona arrives there with the police because they traced Pooja's number to the house. Karam sneaks out when he notices Sona. Abu thinks Pooja ended her because creeps like Sona were troubling her. But the police officer claims her phone is still active, and it seems like she's walking somewhere. Harry is about to get married that day, so Karam sneaks into her room. She refuses to talk to him because she thinks he's having an affair with Jumani. She doesn't let him explain and asks him to leave. During Perry's wedding celebrations, the lights suddenly go off. Pooja starts performing, and Perry finally understands what was happening with Karam. Sona and Abu arrive there and feel weird about Pooja dancing there. But Pooja turns into Karam, and the truth is revealed to everyone at last. Abu is now sure Yusuf perished due to shock after finding out Pooja is a guy. Sona feels betrayed he couldn't figure out that Pooja was a man. Even Tiger feels like he wasted his money on a guy. But Shahrukh admits he always knew about this. Shakya knows Shahrukh is gay, and feels like he must have been fine with Pooja being Karam. When Perry asks why he did all this, he explains that he did it for her and Jaipal's demands. He thinks Jaipal gave a middle-class man like him an impossible task. He feels bad he couldn't fulfill Jaipal's conditions. But he feels worse that Pooja decided to marry someone else without consulting with him. He changed his gender for her and feels upset she can't even trust him. She tries to explain that there were many instances where it seemed like he's cheating. When Sona and Abu ran about his fraud, Karam starts pointing out their flaws. He thinks none of them understand anything about love and treat relationships like dirt. He begs Abu to listen to his own son and support that he loves men. He also wants Japal to know he did everything for people he loves. He also wants Perry to know that a relationship works if two people discuss things instead of running away. He asks her to get married if she thinks the other guy can keep her happy. He also wants Japal to know he shouldn't look down on people who do everything for love. When he leaves the wedding and is sulking, they hear music and notice Perry approaching them on a boat. She apologizes for doubting him and asks if he will be her dream girl too.